So yes, I'm out on the PlanetX Pro Carbon. It's a rare occasion. I think I only used it about 5 times last year. It's not my bike of choice. The bike of choice is obviously the Trek Checkpoint. But when you do go back on a super light carbon bike, this is just a smidge under 8 kilos, you notice the difference so much. Everything is just so effortless to pedal. An uphill accelerates quickly when you put effort in. I love the Checkpoint, but it is nice to be on a fast bike or faster bike. So I'm just under 10 miles in. My average speed 17.3, which I've got to be really working hard to do that on the Trek. So it's kind of nice to get a bit faster. One of the first things I noticed though is definitely the tyres. This has got can just fit 25mm tyres on it. When it was new, it had 23s. There's virtually no clearance, very little clearance. I went down a sandy road last year, and just the sand made the tyre, picked up on the tyre and scratched all the frame. There's virtually no clearance. So got caught in a rain shower. It's a bit damp now. This bike doesn't really go out in the wet. Oh no. And speaking of wet, that is the other thing that you notice after the Trek. So this is on rim brakes. This bike I think is 2014 vintage, and it's on rim brakes. So when it's wet, it's easy to forget you haven't got much in the way of braking. Well, just sheltering a little bit. I have a heavy rain shower, and the coffee shop that I'd half planned to come to is it's closed. It's a bit annoying, isn't it? So let me tell you some more about this bike. So I say it was about 2014 vintage. So Ultegra, Shimano Ultegra 11 speed, and when I bought it, it was on sale from PlanetX. It was 25% off, and it was a princely sum of £899. Can you believe that? Don't get much for £899 now. Definitely not Shimano Ultegra 11 speed. The other thing I've noticed riding this bike, after riding a gravel bike, is the gearing. Look at that rear sprocket. It's tiny. It's an 1125. So definitely not made for climbing. Most definitely not. It's 100% a flat, fast bike. It helps to have the gearing so close, so you can always be in the right cadence, but come hills, it's hard work. But it is overall a very nice bike. Under 8 kilos, very light. I love it. It has one fault though. You can maybe just about see in there how little clearance there is. And again, at the front there, virtually nothing. So I'm going to have a drink of my bottle, being as there's no coffee here. The rain is almost gone now. As I say, I very rarely bring this bike out in the wet, so I'm going to have to give it a clean. Let this rain pass, and then mosey on back. So as you can see, the roads are wet. It's not raining now, but the roads are still wet. And that's the other thing I notice on this bike. I just don't feel confident on relatively skinny tyres on a damp road compared to a gravel bike. Funny that, like 10 years ago, I wouldn't have batted an eyelid, been fine. But now, just don't feel totally confident. Feels a bit sketchy. Probably just need to get used to the tyres. So I'm intrigued to know how you guys get on if you have different bikes, swapping from one to another. Do you find it easy? Does it take a bit of getting used to? What's your criteria for which bikes you ride when? Other than the obvious on-road, off-road. Is it speed? Is it comfort? Carrying capacity? What makes you choose between your bikes? So as you can see, it is actually quite easy to zip along at 19-20 miles an hour just in a rhythm. You forget how fast a light carbon bike well set up is, although it's not as comfortable. It's not uncomfortable, but it's definitely not as comfortable. So as you can see, the roads are pretty dry now. Occasional little puddles, but almost dry. And I've got about 3 miles to go. I'm going to end up at about 26 miles today. My average speed is currently 16.9 miles an hour. Fastest for some time. No cough, chest feeling good. The world's good. So on that positive note, I shall leave you, say goodbye, see you again in a week or so's time.